Heavy rain battering parts of Austin tonight. The storm rolling in quickly.
And check out this time lapse from our KVUE roof camera. Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon is here tracking the latest. Albert, looks like the rain might be moving out.
It is. It's certainly weakening, and none of this activity was severe, but some much welcome downpours, rainfall across a good chunk of the area. Maxstorm Doppler radar showing the heaviest activity right now focused in over the hill country. Some heavy rainfall, especially to the south and southwest of Fredericksburg. Moderate showers extending off to the northeast to the Buchanan Dam area. Just some light to moderate rain in Austin right now. A moderate shower between Georgetown and Round Rock, and a thunderstorm getting a little bit closer to Bertram tonight there in Burnett County. We picked up better than an inch of rainfall this evening at Camp Mabry, closing in on a ½ an inch at Bergstrom as this activity will start to fade away after midnight. In the KV Storm Chaser, we're keeping an eye on low water crossings in northwest Austin, the old Spicewood Springs area. We'll have an update on that a little bit later on in the newscast. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Albert. Turning now to the fight over Senate Bill 4. A federal judge in San Antonio says he needs more time to make a ruling after today's preliminary hearing about that controversial law.
Austin is one of 6 Texas cities suing the state over the so-called sanctuary cities rule that goes into effect in September. The Night Beat's Tina Shively joins us now with more on what happened during today's hearing. Tina?
Well, Quita, a healthy debate continued both inside and outside the courtroom throughout the day. After 6 hours, the judge decided he needs time to review the testimony before he makes any decisions. Here's a look at the law as it stands now. Under SB 4, all law enforcement is required to honor ICE detainers. Those are voluntary requests to hold someone in jail while their immigration status is investigated. It also allows officers to ask a detainee about their status. It also prohibits law enforcement leaders from having immigration policies, and it prohibits elected officials from endorsing policies that contradict the new law. Now, the attorneys representing the city say the law forces officers to act as immigration agents. Federal and state authorities disagree, adding SB 4 does not violate federal law.
There is no Fourth Amendment violation when states and localities honor ICE detainers. There is an ongoing debate in our country about whether federal immigration statutes should be amended.
That's not only illegal, but I think it's going to be bad policy. It's going to result in harassment of Latinos and immigrants. It's going to result in profiling.
Now, before the hearing began, a crowd of SB 4 protesters gathered outside the courthouse. The Catholic Archbishop of San Antonio and Austin City Council member Greg Casar were among the speakers there. Many of them believe the law is discriminatory and will tear apart families. One business here in Austin feels the same. It is also challenging the bill. My colleague Brandon Jones has that story. Brandon?
Well, Tina, for a few hours today, officials at the People's Community Clinic invited our cameras in. The clinic serves the uninsured and underinsured, but now there's another concern, one that could affect the clinic's bottom line.
An ICE arrest was captured on camera.
You've seen it on the news. ICE raids and the chanting of Senate Bill 4 protesters. Tucked away near I-35 is the People's Community Clinic in Austin. You won't find people in handcuffs or screaming at the top of their lungs here. However, some believe the effects of SB 4 are real disease.
We anticipated exactly what has happened.
This is Mary McDowell, the chief operating officer at the clinic. McDowell says since SB 4 was introduced, more and more patients are missing their appointments. She believes it's the fear of deportation that's keeping them home.
We have a no-show rate of about 12 to 15%. Right now it's running 16 to 18%.
For every 1% of no-shows, the clinic could lose up to $8,000.
So if this continues, this could get worse.
Yep, we'll have a budget shortfall. We'll need to find other ways to make that money.
Even with the 13,000 patients a year that walk through its doors, McDowell says the clinic will continue to help those in need.
And the community needs it desperately. Travis County, the number of self-pay patients, folks who don't have insurance, is growing every day.
She hopes lawmakers will put the needs of clinics like this first.
So officials at the clinic are backing Austin's fight against Senate Bill 4. We're told that the clinic has filed its declaration with the city's motion, and they're waiting on the courts as well. Mike?
All right, thanks, Brandon. The Trump administration hard at work tonight to change the minds of several Republicans over the Senate's health care bill. Late this evening, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office revealed the bill would leave 22 million more Americans uninsured over the next decade. Also, a certain slashes to Medicaid. Some Republicans say the deficit would plunge $321 billion by 2016 or 2026. Democrats are unified in opposition, so Republicans can afford to lose only 2 votes, but already at least 5 say they cannot support it.
The Trump administration scoring a major victory in court today. The Supreme Court upheld part of his travel ban, barring travel from 6 countries. The Night Beat's Michael Perchik joins us now to discuss its impact. Michael?
The Supreme Court did rule in favor of the policy, though it did so with specific exceptions that opponents say would cover most cases. Now, the ban affects Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen. President Trump has said the ban was a temporary anti-terrorism policy, which would allow government officials to improve screening processes. He tweeted his approval of the court's decision, writing, quote, "Very grateful for the 9-0 decision from the U.S. Supreme Court. We must keep America safe." Simone Talma-Flowers is the executive director of Interfaith Action of Central Texas, an organization that helps refugees who have resettled here. She said the decision, which bars refugees from those countries for 120 days, isn't as simple as it seems.
120 days may seem like a short time. That's life or death for families. They may not have that amount of time.
Flowers said they have seen an uptick in Syrian refugees requesting assistance over the past several months. Now, the court's decision applies to those who have no bona fide relationship to the U.S., which essentially means they have no established ties to the country. Now, examples of people who may enter the country include if a U.S. citizen claims a close family member from one of the affected countries, if a U.S. university has accepted a student from one of the affected countries, or if a U.S. business has offered a job to a prospective employee from one of those affected countries. Now, opponents argue the majority of visitors to the U.S. from the countries will still be able to come under those exceptions. Michael Perchik, KVUE News Night Beat.
Thanks, Michael. Right now, Austin ISD has just passed the $1 billion bond that they've been debating for weeks. The Night Beat's Jason Puckett is live tonight with the latest. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Mike and Quita, you know, the meeting is actually over. This is the first one of these bond proposal meetings where the screens are off and people are leaving before or just about 10 p.m. And again, the board did just officially approve their list of items for that bond proposal and called for the bond election in November of this year. They heard from dozens of parents and community members out here tonight and stuck with the list of items from their last meeting. That includes 16 new or modernized campuses along with dozens of smaller changes. The grand total, a whopping $1,050,984,000, a number they reached, though, without raising the tax base in Austin. The board also passed an amendment tonight that any leftover funds will be prioritized, towards schools with overcrowding issues. Now, they did pass this, but this is really the first step here. The board's now going to be focused on getting this bond passed, a campaign to get voters to back this up and get this $1 billion bond passed here in November. We're now here at AASD headquarters. I'm Jason Puckett, KVUE News Night Beat.
Thanks, Jason. A multi-million-dollar settlement is reached in the death of Philando Castile. His mother will receive nearly $3 million after he was shot and killed by an officer during a traffic stop last year. That officer was acquitted of all charges earlier this month.
More than $2 million worth of cocaine is off the streets tonight. Yesterday, Border Patrol seized more than 65 pounds of cocaine with an estimated value of $2.1 million. The drugs were stashed inside a pickup truck's quarter panels, more than 24 bundles that you see there. The driver, an adult man, was arrested. Both the truck and the drugs were seized.